The key to building a habit is commitment. And in order to commit to something, you have to actually want to do it. So before starting a habit, ask yourself why you want to create it in the first place. Hi, I'm Paula, the girl that sits here every Tuesday to just talk about things that happen to all of us but that we don't talk about enough. And today it's time to talk about how to build habits that actually stick. I know that finding motivation is hard, and that's why it's so important to find personal value in each habit you want to incorporate into your life. Because let's be honest, if you want to start doing a habit just because you saw it on TikTok, if you don't find any sort of personal value on it, you're probably going to end up quitting it eventually because you're just gonna get tired of doing things that feel meaningless. So whenever you feel unmotivated to continue with your habit, you can always go back to the reason you wanted to incorporate that habit in the first place. And to help you, you can create different props like a vision board, a scrapbook, journal about it, or honestly anything that works for you. But the point here is to do something that helps you finding motivation again when you're lacking it. And as a side note, nothing is gonna happen if you don't do your habit for one day or two. Different things happen on different days, and it's perfectly normal if one day you can't do it. You only lose a habit once you start finding excuses to keep missing on doing it over and over again. And if this is your case, then it's probably because that particular habit simply not providing value anymore. So instead of forcing yourself and feeling guilty because you actually don't do it, try to change it a little bit so it starts adding value again. And if this is not your case and you really want to continue doing this habit but you just can't do it today, it's fine. You will still want to do it tomorrow. So don't worry if just for today you can't do it. You are going to be fine and you're not going to lose your habit. So now, how do we actually create and stick to a habit? Let's start by defining what a habit is. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, a habit is an acquired mode of behavior that has become nearly or completely involuntary. So, how do we make an action become involuntary? Well, there are two main things we need to have. One, the repetition of that action, and two, the contextual cues that suggest that it's time to do that action. Most people focus only on the repetition of the action, which is necessary, of course. After all, you need to get used to doing that particular thing you wanted to create a habit out of, but forget to pay attention to the contextual cues, which are basically signs in your context that indicate that it's time you do that particular thing. So for example, waving hello when you arrive to your office or when you see a friend. Waving hello is an involuntary habit that we already have, but we are not randomly doing it at any time or any place. We just do it when we arrive to a certain spot or when we see a certain person. The spot or the person are the contextual cues that indicate you that it's time to wave. And it works just like that with any other habit you want to create. And that's what contextual cues are so important, because they are going to help you just do your habit automatically. So when creating a habit, make sure you not only focus on the repetition, but also on the contextual cues. These cues can be anything you would like. So they can be a previous action, like brushing your teeth after you make your bed, or they can also be a very specific hour. So for example, getting ready to go to bed at night at exactly 9 p.m. and so on. These cues can be anything that works for you. The point here is that you make sure you find cues that help you develop that habit. Now that you know the elements that you need to take into account, what strategies can you actually use to build a habit? I learned some of the most effective techniques in one of my uni classes, and these are the two that work the best. The first one consists on piling your new habit on an already acquired habit. This way, the already acquired habit can serve as the cue that signals you that it's time to do that other habit. Technique works really well for small habits because it helps you create a routine instead of individual habits. That way, when you do the habit that you have already acquired, you're going to start feeling like it's incomplete if you don't do the new habit, and you will start creating a solid routine, which is really good for making habits become automatical. But what happens when you want to create or develop a habit that's just bigger or requires more energy or motivation, or that you just can't pile up on top of another habit like working out or being more organized? Well, in this case, you can use the second technique, which is breaking down that big habit into smaller, easier, and more achievable habits that can pile up on top of one another, or that can eventually lead to that big habit you want to have. So, for example, let's say you want to develop the habit of working out or just being a more fit person. Instead of all of a sudden forcing yourself to start going to the gym every day, you can start by deciding that you are going to take the stairs instead of the elevator. And once you already feel comfortable with taking the stairs, you can add something up. So now you're not only going to start taking the stairs, but you're also going to go on a daily morning 15-minute walk. And once you feel comfortable with that walk, then you can start going to the gym or start going to a fitness class and so on. The point here is to not force yourself to go all the way into the big habit right away, but to just break it down so you can start getting used to it slowly and finding ways in which you can adaptate that habit to you. That's all for today. Thank you so much for being here. I send you a massive hug. Remember that you are not alone. See you next week.